Captain Sarah Chen adjusted the stealth field modulator as her observation vessel drifted silently among the debris of what had once been the Alliance colony of New Thalassa. The crystalline fragments of destroyed buildings glittered against the backdrop of space, a memorial to the 50,000 souls who had called this outpost home until the hegemony decided it had strategic value. Recording complete, Lieutenant Ibarra announced from the sensor station. Pattern Omega-7 verified with 98% confidence. Sarah nodded, keeping her expression neutral despite the heaviness in her chest. After 5 years commanding this reconnaissance mission, she had witnessed too many atrocities to count. Package the data and encrypt it for immediate transmission to Earth Command, she ordered. Include my personal notes on the hegemony's new radiation dispersal pattern. As her crew worked, Sarah moved to the observation deck. The reinforced transparent aluminum gave an unobstructed view of the hegemony dreadnought as it moved ponderously through the debris field. Its biomechanical hull pulsed with sickly green energy as it consumed fragments of the destroyed colony for raw materials. "Disgusting," said Commander Jackson as he joined her at the viewport. They didn't even wait for the bodies to cool before starting their harvesting protocols. "That's why we're here," Sarah replied quietly. "Every horror they inflict, every innovation the Alliance develops to counter them, we document it all." An alert chimed on Jackson's wrist terminal. Alliance response fleet incoming. 17 minutes until they arrive in system. Sarah turned from the viewport. "Prepare for immediate withdrawal. Standard escape pattern Delta. We've seen enough here." As her ship slipped away undetected, Sarah reviewed the mission data. This marked the 73rd direct planetary assault she had documented in the ongoing conflict between the two galactic powers. For over 2 centuries, the Alliance and hegemony had been locked in a war that had consumed thousands of worlds. Neither side remembered what had triggered the conflict anymore, only that the other must be destroyed at all costs. 3 days later, Sarah's ship entered Earth's solar system through a carefully masked approach vector. To any observer, they appeared to be nothing more than a civilian cargo hauler returning from the Proxima Centauri colonies. This deception was essential. Earth maintained official neutrality in the galactic conflict, a status possible only because both warring powers considered humans too primitive and resource-poor to be worth recruiting or conquering. If only they knew the truth. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Sarah stood at attention before the United Earth Defense Council. 12 men and women representing Earth's unified government studied the holographic display of her mission's findings. The hegemony's new planet killer technology is even more efficient than our models predicted, Admiral Rice noted, highlighting the energy signatures from Sarah's data. And the Alliance's response was predictably inadequate. Chairwoman Amara Osi nodded grimly. "Captain Chen, your reconnaissance team has provided invaluable intelligence. How would you assess the escalation trajectory?" "Accelerating, Madam Chairwoman," Sarah replied. "The hegemony will deploy this technology against at least 5 more Alliance worlds within the month. The Alliance will retaliate with their quantum disruption weapons. Civilian casualties will likely exceed 2 billion. The council members exchanged troubled glances. Chairwoman Osi tapped her console, bringing up a new holographic display. A galactic map showing thousands of glowing points scattered throughout Earth's solar system and beyond. "Is the Dormant fleet ready?" she asked Admiral Rice. The Admiral's expression remained stone-faced. 312 vessels fully operational. Another 700 in final preparation stages. If activated, we could deploy within 72 hours. "Let us hope it doesn't come to that," Osei said quietly. "Humanity has worked too hard to maintain our secret." Sarah studied the map, each point of light representing a vessel of unprecedented technological capability. Ships incorporating centuries of innovations gleaned from studying both sides of the galactic conflict. Ships designed not just to fight, but to end fighting forever. "Dismissed, Captain," Osei said finally. "Get some rest. I fear we may need you again sooner than we'd like." As Sarah left the chamber, she couldn't help but wonder. How much longer could humanity remain the silent observers of galactic genocide? And when they finally revealed themselves, would they truly be ready for the consequences? Commander James Okafor stood with perfect military posture aboard the diplomatic vessel Handshake, fighting to maintain his neutral expression as Alliance Admiral Zex Thal loomed over him. The Admiral's crystalline exoskeleton clicked irritably as he circled the human representative. "Your response is disappointing, Commander," Zex Thal said, the translator rendering his clicks and whistles into flat English. "Earth has abundant resources that could contribute to our righteous struggle against hegemony oppression." James kept his voice level. "Earth maintains its neutrality, Admiral. We cannot provide military resources to either faction." The Admiral's compound eyes flashed with an iridescent display of anger. "Neutrality is a luxury for those with power, Commander. Earth has none." The massive viewscreen dominating the conference room flickered to life, showing a tactical display of the Sol system. A pulsing red indicator appeared near Earth's moon. "One of our battle cruisers is currently in weapons range of your lunar colony," Zex Thal stated casually. 7,000 humans live there, correct? A tragic accident could occur if Earth continues to refuse our reasonable requests. James felt ice in his veins but maintained his composure. "Are you threatening civilian targets, Admiral?" "Merely demonstrating the reality of your situation." The alien gestured, and a beam of energy lanced from the Alliance cruiser, striking an uninhabited area of the lunar surface. The impact sent a plume of dust and rock into the airless sky, a demonstration of our resolve. Before James could respond, his secure communicator vibrated against his wrist. The emergency code made his blood run cold. "Hegemony forces detected in Earth orbit." As if on cue, the ship's AI announced, "Alert! Unauthorized transporter signatures detected at Earth Defense Headquarters. Hostage situation in progress." The Admiral's crystalline face arranged itself into what passed for a smile among his kind. "It seems the hegemony has made their move as well. You now face a choice, Commander. Alliance protection or hegemony domination." 5,000 kilometers away, in Earth's orbital defense headquarters, Lieutenant Sophia Diaz found herself face-to-face with 6 hegemony infiltrators. Their biomechanical bodies oozed through security barriers as they surrounded the command center, taking 12 staff members hostage. The hegemony commander, a writhing mass of tentacles topped with an approximation of a humanoid head, addressed the terrified humans. "Your species will now accept our protection against Alliance aggression. Resistance is unnecessary and inadvisable." 300 meters beneath the Pacific Ocean, the Unified Earth Security Council gathered in emergency session. The 12 leaders, faces grim but resolute, watched dual broadcasts of both confrontations. They moved simultaneously. Defense Minister Kwan observed. This was coordinated. Chairwoman Amara Osi nodded, her expression grave. "They're testing us, expecting Earth to choose a side. Instead, they've given us no choice at all." Admiral Helena Reyes placed a secure tablet before the chairwoman. "The Dormant fleet is ready. 312 vessels at full capacity, 714 at 90% readiness." For a moment, silence filled the chamber. 2 centuries of preparation, of hiding humanity's true capabilities, of observing and learning while pretending to be primitive newcomers to galactic society. All of it hinged on this moment. "The vote must be unanimous," Osai reminded them. "We activate the fleet, or we submit to one side or the other." One by one, the council members placed their palms on the quantum-locked activation console. 12 handprints glowed blue as DNA and brainwave patterns were verified. "May our children forgive us," Chairwoman Osai whispered as she placed her own hand on the console. The verification complete, she spoke the activation phrase clearly. "Awaken the Guardians." Throughout the solar system, hidden chambers in asteroids slid open. Gas giant storms parted to reveal massive shipyards. Dimensional pockets collapsed as vessels larger than anything ever seen in the galaxy powered up their systems. Aboard the Handshake, Commander Okafor's communicator chimed with a simple message. Protocol Lazarus initiated. Stand firm. James looked up at the looming admiral and allowed himself, at last, a small smile. Alliance Commander Vrexel watched with growing amusement as his tactical display registered the first human vessels emerging from their hiding places. The readings were unusual, energy signatures unlike anything in Alliance databases, but the ships themselves appeared modest in size compared to his battle group. Primitive toys, he announced to his bridge crew, mandibles clicking with derision. These humans think they can challenge us with these untested vessels. His second-in-command, a veteran of 17 planetary campaigns, studied the readings more carefully. Sir, these energy patterns are anomalous. Perhaps we should educate these mammals on the realities of galactic warfare. Vrexel interrupted. Target the nearest human vessel. Fire a warning shot across their bow. The Alliance cruiser's main cannon discharged, unleashing an energy beam powerful enough to vaporize most capital ships. The targeted human vessel, a sleek, midnight blue craft with no visible weapons, made no attempt to evade. The beam struck the human ship directly. Instead of the expected explosion, the vessel absorbed the blast completely, its hull briefly glowing with intricate, luminous patterns before returning to normal. Silence fell across the Alliance bridge. The communications array chimed, and Captain Michael Jung's calm voice filled the command deck. This is the Earth Defense Vessel Resilient. That was discourteous. Please don't do it again. Vrexel's crystalline face flushed with rage induced by illuminescence. Full power to main cannons. Destroy that impudent vessel. The Alliance cruiser's weapon systems reached maximum charge, the energy beam lancing toward the human ship with enough force to shatter a small moon. Halfway to its target, the beam abruptly reversed course, twisting in space like a living thing before striking the Alliance vessel's own weapons array with surgical precision. Alarms wailed as the cruiser's cannon imploded, crippling the ship without breaching its life support systems. Simultaneously, across the solar system, every hegemony stealth field failed as human ships emitted a previously unknown form of radiation that rendered their cloaking technology useless. The hegemony infiltrators in Earth's orbital headquarters found themselves suddenly visible, their biomechanical camouflage systems offline. Lieutenant Sophia Diaz watched in amazement as the previously terrifying aliens backed away, their tentacles writhing in what appeared to be confusion or fear. "What have you done?" the hegemony commander demanded, its synthesized voice crackling with interference. Sophia allowed herself a small smile. "We've changed the rules of engagement." Aboard Earth's flagship Reckoning, Admiral Helena Reyes stepped onto the bridge. Her uniform bore no weapons, her silver-streaked hair pulled back in a simple knot. Nothing in her appearance suggested she now commanded the most powerful fleet the galaxy had ever seen. "Status report," she requested calmly. "All 300 primary vessels deployed and operational," her tactical officer responded. Phase 1 defensive protocols active. Alliance aggression neutralized. Hegemony infiltration contained. Reyes nodded, studying the holographic display showing the positions of Alliance and hegemony forces throughout the system, all now effectively immobilized by technologies they couldn't comprehend. "Casualties?" she asked. "None, Admiral. On any side." "Good." She straightened her uniform jacket. "Open a channel to both fleets. It's time they learned who they've been underestimating." The communications officer worked his console. "Channel open. Admiral, you're broadcasting to all vessels in the system." Reyes looked directly into the camera, her expression neither triumphant nor threatening, simply resolute. "This is Admiral Helena Reyes of Earth's Defense Fleet. For 2 centuries, your civilizations have torn the galaxy apart while we watched and learned. Today that ends." She paused, letting her words register. "You have committed acts of aggression against Earth and its citizens. Under different circumstances, this would constitute an act of war. The tactical display showed frantic activity aboard the alien vessels as they attempted to restore weapons and propulsion systems. "Your technologies will not function without our permission," Rice continued. "Your weapons cannot harm us. Your threats cannot move us. For the first time since your war began, you will listen." She nodded to her communications officer, who activated a secondary broadcast showing human vessels throughout the system, each one demonstrating capabilities that defied conventional galactic physics. "We come not as conquerors, but as mediators. You have 1 hour to select representatives for peace negotiations." Her voice hardened slightly. "Choose wisely. This is humanity's first warning. We sincerely hope a second will not be necessary." The observation deck of Earth's diplomatic vessel Arbitration hummed with tense energy as representatives from both galactic powers arrived. Alliance envoy Thexel entered first, his crystalline exoskeleton glittering under the carefully calibrated lights. The hegemony sent Nexus Mind Krathvar, its biomechanical form pulsing with barely contained anger. Admiral Reyes stood at the center of the chamber, flanked by Dr. Marcus Chen and Ambassador Sofian Kosi. As Earth's delegation, they presented a stark contrast to the heavily armed and armored alien representatives. "Welcome aboard the Arbitration," Ambassador Nkosi began. "We appreciate your prompt response to our invitation." Invitation. Krathvar's voice modulator vibrated with indignation. "Your vessels have immobilized our fleets, disabled our weapons, and violated our sovereign technology. This is coercion. And yet you are unharmed," Rise observed. "No Earth vessel has fired a single destructive shot." Thexel's compound eyes flashed with suspicious patterns. "You claim peaceful intentions while demonstrating overwhelming force. Explain this contradiction." Dr. Chen stepped forward, activating a holographic display between them. "Perhaps a demonstration will clarify our position better than words." The hologram showed a detailed three-dimensional map of the ongoing galactic conflict, thousands of battle sites spanning 2 centuries of war. Red indicators represented alliance victories, blue showed hegemony successes, and white points marked civilian casualties. "We've studied your war for generations," Chen explained. "Every battle strategy, every weapons advancement, every defensive breakthrough. We've cataloged them all." With a gesture, he expanded the display to show detailed schematics of both factions' most classified weapon systems, including weaknesses neither side had discovered. The alien representatives watched in stunned silence. "Impossible," Thexel whispered, mandibles quivering. "These are our most secure designs." Krathvar's tentacles writhed in agitation. "This changes nothing. Our reinforcements from the Arcturus system will arrive within hours. Then we shall." "They won't be arriving," Rise interrupted calmly. With another gesture, the hologram shifted to show the mentioned hegemony battle group. Each massive vessel floated motionless in space, surrounded by a shimmering energy field. Krathvar emitted a sound of alarm. "What have you done to them?" "They're unharmed," Chen assured the alien. "They're simply held in a localized stasis field. Their life support functions perfectly, but their offensive capabilities have been temporarily suspended." Thexel clicked rapidly in his native language before the translator caught up. "This technology violates fundamental laws of physics as we understand them." "Your understanding is incomplete," Chen replied without arrogance. As if to prove the point, a priority alert sounded throughout the observation deck. The hologram shifted to show an Alliance command vessel launching a quantum-guided missile strike directly at Earth. "Your commander's response to diplomatic outreach is attempted planetary bombardment," Nkosi asked, her voice tight with controlled anger. Before either alien could respond, the hologram showed the missiles transforming mid-flight. Their metallic components rearranged at the molecular level, energy cores remodulating. Within seconds, the planet-killing weapons had transformed into a swarm of mechanical constructs, resembling Earth butterflies. The swarm surrounded the Alliance vessel, their wings glowing with the same energy that would have destroyed Earth. "A more elegant use of that potential, we think," Chen said quietly. Reyes turned to face both representatives. We could have allowed those missiles to strike their targets. We could have retaliated in kind. Instead, we choose transformation over destruction. She stepped closer, her expression resolute. We've had centuries to prepare while you were busy destroying each other. Our technology isn't designed to continue this war. It's designed to end it. The hologram expanded one final time, showing the full extent of Earth's deployed fleet, hundreds of vessels positioned strategically throughout the solar system, each demonstrating capabilities that defied conventional galactic science. Would you like to see what else we've developed? Chen asked, his voice gentle but firm. Or shall we discuss peace terms? The Grand Conference Chamber aboard the arbitration fell silent as delegates from both galactic powers processed the demonstrations of Earth's technological prowess. Alliance envoy Thexel's crystalline appendages had stilled completely, a sign of deep contemplation among his kind. Hegemony Nexus Mind Krathvar's biomechanical form had contracted to its minimal configuration, defensive posturing that betrayed its unease. Ambassador Sophia Nkosi moved to the center of the room, her traditional African formal attire a stark contrast to the utilitarian uniforms and exoskeletons surrounding her. We understand your confusion, she began, her voice gentle but firm. You believed Earth to be a primitive newcomer to interstellar travel. Your species achieved faster-than-light capabilities less than 50 years ago, Thexel stated, his translator rendering his clicks with a hint of accusation. Nkosi smiled. That is when we officially revealed our FTL technology to the galactic community, not when we developed it. With a subtle gesture, she activated a new holographic display. The image showed a crude but recognizable human stealth vessel observing the earliest battles of the current galactic conflict. This ship was deployed by Earth in 2387, over 500 years ago, she explained as the alien stared in disbelief. We have been watching your war since its beginning. Krathvar's form expanded with agitation. Impossible. Our sensors would have detected. Your sensors detected exactly what we wanted them to detect, Dr. Alina Chaudhry interrupted as she entered the chamber. The diminutive physicist carried no visible technology. Yet the holographic display responded to her presence, expanding to show hundreds of similar human observation missions throughout the centuries. We hid our true capabilities, she continued, because we saw what your civilizations did to species who presented any threat. Neutrality through perceived weakness became our strategy. Thexel's compound eyes flashed rapid patterns of light, signaling extreme distress to those who understood his species' biological signals. You deceived the entire galaxy for centuries. We survived, Admiral Reyes corrected firmly, while studying your conflict to ensure we would never become its victims. Dr. Chaudhry approached the central display, manipulating the hologram to show detailed schematics of Earth's vessels. Your questions about our technological advantage have a simple answer. Your approach to innovation is fundamentally different from ours. The display highlighted various systems aboard human ships, comparing them to Alliance and Hegemony equivalents. Where you perfect single technologies in isolation, we create synergies between systems, she explained. Where you focus on building strengths, we eliminate weaknesses. Where you design for destruction, we design for adaptation. Krathvar moved closer to the display, tentacles extending to better perceive the data. These vessels contain no conventional weapons arrays. Correct, Reyes confirmed. Earth ships carry no offensive weaponry as you understand the concept. Then how? Thexel began. Defense and redirection, Chaudhry answered. Every attack against us can be absorbed, neutralized, or redirected back to its source. We don't need to destroy you. You've been doing that perfectly well yourselves. A lieutenant entered the chamber quietly, handing Reyes a datapad. Her expression darkened as she reviewed the information. It seems your commanders are unwilling to accept the reality of the situation, she said, her voice carrying a new edge of steel. While we've been talking, both your factions have ordered simultaneous strikes against 3 populated worlds in neutral systems. The holographic display shifted to show massive planet-killer weapons launching from both Alliance and Hegemony staging areas. Final proof that neither side can be trusted with the power you wield, Nkosi said sadly. Reyes straightened, her patience visibly reaching its limit. This ends now. With a crisp command, she activated her secure communication link. Implement Phase 1 defensive protocols. Authorization Reyes Omega-73. Throughout the galaxy, human vessels that had been hidden near strategic targets suddenly revealed themselves, moving with impossible speed to intercept the planet-killer weapons. Watch, Dr. Chaudhry told the alien representatives. Watch what humanity chooses to do when given the power you have so long abused. The holographic display aboard the arbitration expanded to show real-time footage from 3 different star systems. Alliance and Hegemony planet-killer weapons streaked toward populated worlds, massive projectiles designed to crack planetary crusts and render entire biospheres uninhabitable. Human vessels, sleek and silent, intercepted each weapon. Instead of destroying the projectiles, Earth's ships enveloped them in shimmering fields of energy. The planet killers slowed, then stopped completely. Their molecular structures began to shift, components rearranging under the influence of forces neither galactic power understood. Nanoscale manipulation, Dr. Chaudhry explained as the aliens watched in stunned silence. Combined with quantum field stabilization. Before their eyes, the weapons transformed. Metal and energy cores reconfigured, their destructive potential redirected and repurposed. Where planet killers had been moments before, now orbited protective shields around each targeted world. We've converted your weapons into planetary defense systems, Admiral Reyes stated simply. They'll now protect these worlds from any further aggression, from either side. Ambassador Nkosi stepped forward. This is humanity's response to violence, not retribution, but protection. Alliance Envoy Thexel's crystalline form trembled slightly, a physiological response his kind could not control when experiencing profound paradigm shifts. Such technology, such capabilities. Why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue your observation? Because we've reached a threshold, Reyes answered. Your war has consumed too many innocent lives. The weapons you're developing now threaten the fabric of space-time itself. We cannot remain silent observers any longer. Captain Sarah Chen entered the conference room, her expression grave as she consulted her datapad. Admiral, we're detecting command signals from both Alliance and Hegemony leadership. They're ordering full-scale attacks against Earth. Krathvar's biomechanical form pulsed with what might have been embarrassment. The High Command does not understand what they face. Then we must help them understand, Reyes replied before turning to Dr. Chen. Implement Phase 2 demonstration. Targeted systems only. Throughout the galaxy, human vessels positioned near major Alliance and Hegemony military installations activated specialized field generators. The effect was immediate and unprecedented. Within seconds, all non-civilian technology across dozens of star systems simply deactivated. Warships drifted powerless in space. Weapons systems went dark. Only life support and essential civilian infrastructure remained functional. The holographic display showed the cascading effect spreading across military bases, shipyards, and command centers. What have you done? Thexel demanded, mandibles clicking rapidly in distress. We've temporarily suspended technological operation in targeted military zones, Dr. Chaudhry explained. No permanent damage. No casualties. Just a pause to enable clarity. Admiral Reyes stepped to the center of the chamber, her posture straight, her voice steady. This is our ultimatum. You have 24 hours to recall all offensive operations throughout the galaxy and initiate ceasefire protocols. After that, Phase 2 will be implemented galaxy-wide. You would cripple civilization across thousands of worlds. Krathvar asked, synthetic voice modulator conveying something like awe. We would pause a war that has already crippled civilization. Nkosi corrected. Life support systems will remain functional. Civilian infrastructure will continue operating. Only the machinery of war will be affected, and only until genuine peace is established. Fexel studied the displays showing disabled Alliance battlecruisers. How is this possible? Such technology defies fundamental physical principles. Ambassador Nkosi's expression remained compassionate but firm. Your scientific understanding is incomplete. For centuries, both your civilizations have focused on weapons of increasing destructive capacity. Humanity chose a different path. While you sought more efficient ways to destroy, Dr. Chaudhry added, we sought deeper understanding of creation itself. The display shifted again, showing Earth's fleet in its entirety. Hundreds of vessels positioned strategically throughout multiple galaxies, each a testament to a technology born not from the desire to conquer, but from the determination to protect. 24 hours, Admiral Rice repeated. The choice is yours. News of Earth's ultimatum spread through both empires like wildfire, transmitted across quantum communication networks faster than either government could contain it. For the first time in generations, Alliance and Hegemony civilians witnessed uncensored footage of human technology neutralizing the most powerful weapons in the galaxy without a single casualty. Captain Michael Jong commanded a small task force monitoring the Rigel system, where the Alliance maintained its largest civilian population center. From the bridge of his vessel, he watched in surprise as thousands of ships took flight from the planet's surface. Not military vessels, but civilian transports of every size and description. They're heading for the government complex, his sensor officer reported. Current estimate, 3 million civilians approaching the regional command center. Similar reports flooded in from across Alliance territory. On hundreds of worlds, civilian populations, long silenced by war propaganda, surrounded military installations, government buildings, and communications arrays. Their message was simple and unified. Accept humanity's terms. In hegemony space, the response took a different but equally unexpected form. Military vessels throughout their territory suddenly changed course, their commanders refusing direct orders to continue fighting. We cannot win against them, stated one hegemony admiral in a transmission intercepted by Earth intelligence. These humans have mastered technologies we haven't even theorized. I will not sacrifice my crew in futile resistance. Aboard the arbitration, Admiral Rice monitored these developments with Dr. Chen and Ambassador Nkosi. It's not just fear of our technology driving this, Nkosi observed, reviewing the reports. It's hope. They've been trapped in this war for so long that many had forgotten peace was possible. Dr. Chen nodded thoughtfully. 7 generations have known nothing but conflict. The possibility of an end, any end, is proving more powerful than centuries of indoctrination. A priority alert sounded, and the holographic display shifted to show a hegemony dreadnought breaking formation near the Ta City colony. The massive vessel had locked weapons on a civilian settlement. Hardliners, Rice noted grimly, making a final statement before the deadline. Before she could issue orders, the ship's targeting systems failed catastrophically, sabotaged from within by its own crew. Similar scenarios played out across both territories as rogue commanders found their efforts thwarted not by human intervention, but by their own people. On 12 worlds targeted by these last-ditch attacks, Captain Sarah Chen's special task force arrived not to fight but to protect. Using matter transportation technology considered impossible by galactic science, they relocated entire threatened settlements to safety within hours. We're moving 14,000 civilians from Ta City Alpha to the secured sanctuary zone, Sarah reported. Local population is cooperating fully. Many are asking if they can volunteer to help Earth's peacekeeping efforts. Dr. Chen studied the data flooding their systems, reports of mass movements throughout both empires, citizens traveling to government centers, surrounding command facilities, overwhelming security forces not with violence but with sheer numbers. They're choosing survival over pride, he observed quietly. Perhaps there's hope after all. As the deadline approached, the Alliance Supreme Council, faced with widespread military defections and civilian protests, transmitted a secure communication to Earth. Minutes later, The Hegemony High Command followed suit. Admiral Rise read both messages, her expression revealing nothing as she passed the data pad to her colleagues. "They've accepted our terms," she confirmed. "Complete ceasefire, full withdrawal from neutral territories, commitment to peace negotiations under Earth's mediation." Ambassador Nkosi's eyes showed cautious optimism. "After 2 centuries of war, just 24 hours to choose peace. I didn't truly believe they would." "They didn't," Dr. Chen replied, his gaze still fixed on the reports of civilian movements. "Their people did. Given a real choice for the first time in generations, they chose what their leaders never would have." Admiral Reyes nodded, allowing herself the faintest smile. Phase 1 of humanity's mission accomplished. Now comes the harder part, building a peace that lasts. 1 year after humanity's dormant fleet awakened, representatives from every spacefaring species gathered at Earth's newly constructed Harmony Station. The massive orbital platform floated serenely above the blue planet, its architecture unlike anything seen before in the galaxy. Rather than metal and energy fields, the station was constructed of living crystal that adapted to accommodate the biological needs of each visitor, adjusting atmosphere, gravity, and light spectra automatically. Admiral Helinda Reyes stood in the Grand Assembly chamber beside Ambassador Sophia Nkosi and Dr. Marcus Chen as delegates from the former warring powers entered. The Alliance representatives no longer wore battle armor, their crystalline exoskeletons now adorned with symbols of office rather than military rank. The Hegemony delegation had abandoned their intimidating biomechanical augmentations, appearing in forms more closely resembling their natural state. Most remarkably, they entered together, without security barriers separating them. 1 year ago, I would have deemed this scene impossible, Ambassador Nkosi whispered. Chairwoman Amara Osei stepped forward to the central podium, her simple Earth formal attire standing in stark contrast to the elaborate garments of the galactic representatives. "Today we gather to formalize what began in crisis," she announced, her voice carrying easily through the chamber. "The Galactic Conquests represents not merely the end of war, but the beginning of a new understanding between all our kinds." The holographic display activated, showing real-time images from across the galaxy. Planets once devastated by conflict now showed signs of recovery. Joint reconstruction teams, composed of Alliance, Hegemony, and Earth personnel, worked side by side rebuilding cities. Former battlecruisers had been repurposed as hospital ships, scientific vessels, and terraforming platforms. Today marks not the victory of one civilization over others, Osei continued, but the triumph of life over destruction. Each signatory to this concordat commits not only to peace, but to healing the wounds inflicted by generations of conflict. As the signing ceremony progressed, a Hegemony representative approached Admiral Reyes. "There is something I do not understand," the alien said, its translator rendering its vibrations into melodic speech. "How will Earth enforce this peace? Your fleet remains the most powerful force in known space, yet I see no evidence of occupation, no military governors." Reyes smiled and gestured toward the observation deck. Outside, Earth's vessels had gathered in formation. As the delegates watched, the ships began a transformation more dramatic than any yet revealed. Their hulls flowed like liquid metal, weapons arrays disappearing completely as they reconfigured from warships into massive exploration, research, and humanitarian vessels. "We built our fleet with the capacity for war," Rise explained, "but designed it for peace." Nearby, a young Alliance diplomat noticed something unusual about Chairwoman Osei as she prepared to sign the historic document. Unlike the representatives of other species, she wore no ceremonial weapon or defensive technology, a break from diplomatic tradition thousands of years old. "Your leader risks much," the diplomat remarked to Dr. Chen. "In our culture, to appear unarmed at such a gathering would signal either foolishness or extraordinary power." Chen considered this. "Throughout our history, humanity's greatest achievements never came from our capacity to harm, but from our determination to understand. The stars await all of us. not as conquerors, but as explorers of a universe too vast and wondrous for conflict. As the final signatures were recorded, celebration erupted across thousands of worlds. The 2-century war had ended not with a decisive military victory, but with something far more revolutionary, a mutual decision to create something better. From Earth's surface, ordinary humans watched the proceedings with pride and hope. The dormant fleet, no longer dormant, no longer weapons, departed for the galaxy's edges, their mission no longer hidden but proudly proclaimed. To ensure this peace became the foundation for a civilization greater than any single species could build alone. In the vastness of space, Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of her newly transformed vessel, gazing at the stars that once seemed filled with threats, but now beckoned with promise. "New course, Captain?" her navigator asked. Sarah smiled. "Everywhere we haven't been yet. We have a universe to discover together."